Hi, this is a recorded practice. Thank you both for being flexible and allowing me to do this. You can have it for yourself to practice anytime, so that's a plus. So let's take a few minutes just to get comfortable, have a couple of cushions to lift you up so that you can sit a little more comfortably. Just begin to shift your position until you find something that feels grounding. Let your hands rest on your lap, close down your eyes, and we begin this transition from the day so far onto your mat. Tuning in. Just notice how you feel. Sense that you are returning to yourself. Connecting to breath. You're always welcome to place a hand on belly, hand on chest. Connecting to this life force, oxygenating the blood, feeding the organ body, feeding our circulation and digestion. Just notice how the breath feels. Sometimes can make a correlation between how we're feeling physically and emotionally with how we're breathing. See if there's some correlation for you. You know that when we're stressed or distracted or sad, we tend to breathe up here in the chest, a much less relaxed, shorter breath. When we're relaxed and feel grounded, calm, we tend to breathe here. In fact, a nice exercise is to notice how you're breathing when you wake up in the morning. Typically, the body's really relaxed and the belly's really relaxed, and you'll feel your in-breath in the low belly. So just something to consider. Let's begin to invite a little bit of movement side to side, just rocking side to side. Little flow. Notice if your neck is tight. You don't have to hold the head or the neck. Just invite a little bit of flow to the head and neck as well as to the shoulders and the torso front to back. And then we'll add a little side stretch. So mirror me. And we'll just move side to side, planting one hand, the other arm sweeps over. Just move side to side at your pace. We're 70% water, so our bodies respond really well to flow. And then come back to a neutral spine. Bring your hands together in prayer pose. Just a moment of stillness, a moment of pause. Inhale, reach the arms up, open your eyes wide, look up to your hands, and exhale to cactus pose. Vinabu is playing with here. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. So let's do that again. Hands to prayer. Let's inhale, reach up. And exhale, cactus arms. Let's do that a few times. When you're reaching up and breathing in, feel that you're lengthening the spine. When you're coming into your cactus arms, feel your shoulders relaxing down away from the ears. One more time, reaching up. And releasing down. Let's take a little spinal twist to one side. Also, when you're practicing, if you ever feel like you're storing a lot of tension or stress, let the exhale go with a sigh. It's a nice release. Spinal flexion continuing side to side. And then come back to center, reach up once again, look up and release your hands to the earth and take a bow. Rock to one side and rock to the other. Walk your hands left, fold over the left knee. And walk your hands right, fold over the right knee. Back to center. Let's come into an easy cobbler. So connect the soles of your feet. Let your knees open comfortably. We don't want to force them down. And slide your feet a little further away from you so that there's less tension in the inner thighs and groins. And then bring your forearms to place over the knees. And we're just going to take a comfortable bow of the head, a little bit of a forward fold. I'm pressing my knees into my forearms and my forearms into my knees. Rise up, straighten your legs in front of you, flex your feet. Shake out the knees. We'll do a little side stretch here. So left hand to the mat, right arm floats over. Keep that active flexion in your feet. And then over to the other side. And left. And right. And we'll swing the legs around. Place your cushions off to the side. Let's come into tabletop. Shoulders stacked over wrists, hips over knees. Let your hips glide to one side and then to the other. And then back to center. Curl the toes under. Come on to the fingertips. So we're tenting the hands, the palms are lifted, and we're just going to bring our weight forward and back. So really digging into the mat through the tips of the fingers, rocking your hips forward to back, getting a nice stretch in the feet as well as the hands. And then lower your palms down. And keep the toes curled under. Let's lift the knees till they're just hovering. Let your head go. Take your gaze back to the feet. Just feel a nice stretch in the feet. Feel a nice firing up of the quads. And lower the knees down. Toes point toward the back of the mat. Come up onto your knees. Sweep your arms up. Look up. Exhale, take your bow. Let's move with our breath, inhaling to rise and exhaling to fold. We're going to do this 3 more times. Go slow enough so that you're not feeling lightheaded. Full breath in and full breath out. Let's go 1 more. Press your palms together, still up to the knees, and then sit back in hero pose. Let's just take a couple of breaths here. Feel the connection between all 10 fingers. I'm also rocking a little bit side to side. That might feel good in the hips. Bring your hands to the earth, slide them forward, gaze forward. Feel a nice stretch in the upper back, in the arms and the shoulders. Keep your hands firmly planted here. Hips come forward. Let's come right into upward facing dog. Let your shoulders stack over the wrists. So adjust your arms as you need until you feel that alignment. Hips to heels, exhaling here. Inhaling, coming forward to your up dog. So there doesn't need to be any movement in the hands or the legs once you find the placement. Let's move with our breath between these 2 points of up dog to child's pose. One more time to come forward. Hold here. Maybe a little rocking side to side. Really feel a nice stretch in the glutes and the low back and the lower abdominals. Come back to your table and onto your knees. Sweep the arms up and come into cactus arms. We're going to step the right foot forward to come into low lunge. So I'm pressing down through that right foot and forward just to create some traction, maintaining your cactus arms. Feel a nice firing up of your quad on the left as well. Let's take a twist to the right and a twist to the left. Stay in this twisting action. Your palms can face toward each other or outward, just to make these little adjustments to see what changes. Come back to center, look up, reach up, maybe bring your hips a little forward to invite a little baby back bend. And then release your hands to the inside of your forward foot. Press your hips back. So we're getting a little length in our right leg, taking a bow. And then inhale, bring your hips forward. Exhale, send the hips back. Let's do this a few times. And if it feels more comfortable to have the back toes curled under, you're welcome to alternate between curling the toes under and pointing the toes back, whatever feels good for you. Another option here, if you watch this recording again, maybe next time or maybe today, you can sit back on your left heel, get nice length in your right leg, feel that flexion in the foot, and then walk your hands back, rise up to your low lunge, and come back to cactus arms. So we're practicing a little bit of balance here with your cactus arms. Step your right knee back to meet the left. Let's lower the arms and sweep them forward to come into a mini chair pose. Lower the arms, rise up to the knees, sweep the arms up, look up, and lower the arms, bring them forward to mini chair, back up to reach up, and down to mini chair. Lower the arms, cactus the arms, step the left foot forward. So create that traction. I'm pressing down and forward through my left foot as I feel that traction in both legs. Sweep the arms up. Find your cactus arms. You can have your palms turned outward or in toward each other as we move through this twisting side to side, checking for your balance, finding your balance, feeling your way into balancing. And back to center. Let's bring our hands to the inside of the forward foot, hips shift forward, hips shift back. So you can adjust your left foot, scoot it a little more forward so that your range of motion increases a little bit. Just shifting the hips forward and back. See what feels different, what changes from side to side. If you're listening or watching or participating in this recording later on and you want to add a little bit of intensity, you can sit back on the right heel, inviting more length into the left leg, flexing the foot, folding over. This may or may not be accessible, maybe on one side and not the other.
And then bring your hands back and rise up to your low lunge. Come back to your cactus and back onto your knees. Let's reach the arms up, inviting a little back bend here and coming back to tabletop. Let's do some cow. Just come back to symmetrical movement. Rounding the spine as you exhale, arching the back to inhale. Exhale, round and arch. And once again, round and arch. Let's curl the toes under. We'll meet in downward facing dog. So press your hips back, engage all 10 fingers, gripping the mat, lifting the knees, hips, head lowering down. Set your gaze to your feet. Begin to pedal the feet and release through the heels. We're adding a little bit of movement through the hips, shaking out the head. Just getting a nice whole body stretch here in your dog. And come back down to the knees. Plug the big toes into touch. Take the knees wide and we'll come into a wide child's pose. Have a support for your head, whether it's your hands or a blanket or a block. So the knees wide gives the front of the torso lots of space to release down. Come into a rest here. Your body feels like it needs to wiggle around a little bit. Feel free to invite a little bit of movement until you feel comfortable, and then allow yourself to land in this child's pose. An opportunity to pause in your practice, checking in. Follow your breath into the back body. So we're stretching out the back body when we forward fold into a child's pose. So feel that expanding quality of in-breath in the back body. Feel that releasing quality on exhalation. Stay with your breath in this child's pose. On your next in-breath, lift your head, come onto the hands. We're keeping the knees wide as we walk the hands over to the right. Take a little bow. Lift your head, walk your hands left, take a bow. Come back to center. So we're gonna move the knees back toward each other, come into extended child's pose. So the arms reaching forward, bowing your head, your chest. My hips are just hovering off the heels. Then we're gonna come into our upward facing dog. Nice and open across the chest. The neck is long. From upward facing dog, press into the floor to lift the hips. Curl the toes under, downward facing dog. Set your gaze toward your feet. Make any adjustments you need in your foundation point so that you feel fully supported in your dog. Lift your heels. We're going to come into three-legged dog on the left. So lift your left leg. You can choose to just lift it a little bit or a little bit more, totally up to you. I'm keeping a nice bend in my right knee, my head releasing down. I'm evenly pressing through both hands. Get really strong here. And then slide the left knee forward. We're going to come right into plank pose. Set the right toes back. So I'm on the top of the right foot. I'm sitting on my left heel. My hands are grounded, rocking side to side. We're in pigeon prep here. We're not going to come into full pigeon right now. We're going to come back into downward facing dog. Just a reminder that your transition might be different than my transition. So however you want to get back to your downward facing dog, I'm curling my back toes under, planting my hands, lifting my hips, and stepping my left foot back to dog. So do a little reset with foundation points. Get strong in your dog. Lift your heels. Shift your weight into the left foot. Lift your right. Bend the left knee a little bit. Feeling your way into this balance, evenly pressing through the floor with both hands. Right knee comes forward between the hands, left leg extends back, toes pointing back. I'm sitting on my right heel, getting a nice stretch in pigeon prep here, maybe inviting a little bit of rocking side to side. Then I'm curling my back toes under. We're going to transition now to downward facing dog one more time. So step back however you transition to your dog. And now we're coming into high plank. We're not going to be here for long, but really engage your lower abdominals. I'm staying nice and lifted through the hips. I'm pressing back through my heels, engaging my glutes and my quads. Drop the knees down, come onto your belly. We're going to come right into crocodile. So cross your hands, elbows wide, feet move to the outer edges of the mat. Let's take a rest here. Similar to a rest in child's pose, but the body is a little more neutral. Connecting to your breathing, really feeling the flow of breath in the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Lift your feet over your knees, point and flex. Roll through the ankles. Just let your lower legs move with this rotation. You can also windshield wiper the lower legs. You can keep your chin to your hands or your forehead to your hands, whatever feels comfortable for your neck. And then lower the feet down. We're going to come into cobra prep. So my head and chest are lifted just off the floor. My hands are resting on the mat on either side of my ribs. My shoulders are pulling back, my upper arms tucked into the side body. So nice and active here. And I'm going to press down and forward through my hands to come up to my cobra. From here, I'm lifting my hips and pressing back to extended child's pose. Bow your head. Take 3 breaths here, full rounds in and out, continuing with nostril breathing. After those 3 rounds of breath, lift your head, slide your hands towards you, float back up onto the knees, arms sweep up, arms lower down. Step your right foot forward. We're going to come to stand. Again, if this transition isn't comfortable for you, you can come to standing however you choose. Maybe the next time you watch this recording, you can practice it this way. So I'm curling my back toes under, stabilizing by pressing into my right thigh, leaning over, lifting the back knee, and kicking off the back foot. coming into standing forward fold. If your hamstrings are tight, you might want to generously bend your knees, reach for your floor or your blocks. Let go of the weight of the head. Just get a nice stretch in the back body here. And then slowly, slowly, slowly roll yourself up. As you roll yourself up, let's move right into fascia release. So if you need to take a moment of stillness, we've been down for a bit. I may have invited movement a little quickly there, so meet me in this motion. More about letting the body move in the most organic way as opposed to creating the movement or controlling the movement. We're just shaking off. We've done a lot of wrists and shoulders and hips, so this is an opportunity to invite space. And then we'll come back into our mountain pose, our feet about hip distance apart. Bring your hands together in prayer. Set your gaze over the fingertips. Let's just do a little awareness check-in, a body scan. Just start at the top of the head. Feel this energy lifting, reaching upward through the crown. Relax your gaze downward, sending that calming signal to the brain. Feel your shoulders relaxing down, away from the ears. Feel the weight of the hips, the pelvis, sort of a letting go through the pelvic bowl. Legs are strong, grounded through the feet. Sense your whole body here in mountain pose. Reach your hands upward, breathe in. Exhale the arms, bend the knees. The inhale takes us here. And the exhale brings us here. Let me just show you a profile and sort of folding over a little bit. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to here. Let's do that a couple more times. I'll face you again. Full breath in. Full breath out. The next time your hands are lifted, press your palms together, release back to your prayer. And lower the arms down. Let's step our feet comfortably wide. Just begin to shift our weight. My toes are turned out as well. So we're just inviting a little bit of flow side to side. Feel your quads firing up, your glutes firing up, your core firing up front to back. And then we're going to add an arm. So when we lean to the right, the left arm makes a rotation, lean to the left, right arm. So we did this seated. Keep that bend in the knees, shifting your weight side to side. So we're getting a nice workout in the quads and the core, but there's also this sense of flow, which helps the effort to feel a little more easeful. Press down through your palms, bend your knees. We're just doing a little bit of pulsing here. Just breathe normally. If you need to let out on exhalation, feel free. And then reach your arms up, look up, feel this nice spaciousness. Stay here and breathe. Wiggle around a little bit. And then come into this practice of palms turned up. Just set your gaze down. This is a receptive posture, just open to receive whatever is here. Feel your heartbeat, feel your breath, and then lower the arms down. Let's do a little bit of fluttering just to relieve the fingers and the hands and the wrists and the shoulders. Imagine your beautiful bird taking off. And then we'll move into a warrior series. So mirror me as you do. Right toes forward, left toes turn toward the top edge of the mat. We're going to bend this knee. And when you bend this knee, you might feel this compulsion to turn your back heel out a little bit, turn the toes in, heel out. The tendency is for the body to want to turn toward the top edge of the mat. This is warrior one, as we know. We're going to stay nice and square, shoulders and hips square. Add your arms. Again, if you want to do a little bit of fluttering, if you're feeling like you're overdoing it in the shoulders, and then settle into your warrior two, set your gaze left. So just feel your way into the pose. Take a few breaths. You might even move the arms upward on inhalation and let the arms come to rest downward on exhalation. A bit of lifting on inhale, relieving on exhale. Turn your palms up, reach up, press your palms, straighten your left leg, exhale to your warrior two. Your back arm's going to come forward. Your palms are going to face each other. I'm squaring my hips to the top edge of the mat. Now we're in warrior one. So feel that transition. Let's do it together a couple of times. Open to your warrior two, palms turned up, and shift to your warrior one. Warrior two, warrior one. Lower the arms down, straighten the left leg, parallel your feet, cross your hands. Let's take a big breath in, reach up. We're gonna move to a wide forward fold. Exhale, hinge at your hips and fold. Breathe here, shake out the head, keep a nice bend in the knees. You can invite any organic movement here. Perhaps close down your eyes. Just do what feels comfortable for you as a way to stretch out the body, to come back to symmetry before we move to the other side. Then slowly roll yourself up. When you're vertical, sweep the arms up. And release the arms down. Let's switch out the feet. So now the right toes are facing the back edge of the mat. My left toes are facing forward, but I'm adjusting my heel out a little bit, toes in, and then bending the knee. The tendency is for the body to want to turn to warrior one. We're going to stay in warrior two. So you should be feeling a nice pulling sensation in the hips, groins, inner thighs, quads, this whole region of the pelvis and the hips. Let's do a little bit of fluttering the arms just to relax any over efforting, keeping a nice bend in the knee. And then turn your palms up and reach up, press your palms together. The right knee straightens. Exhale to your warrior. Inhale, rise. Exhale, warrior. And again, rise, breathe in. And warrior. Turn your palms down, set your gaze to the right. Just feel your whole body experiencing warrior two. Strong, strong through your foundation. Feel as though your feet are pushing away from each other, as if you're trying to stretch out your mat. So you can feel that traction. Lower the arms, straighten the leg, parallel the feet. Cross your hands, big breath in to reach up. We always come back to symmetrical form, wide forward fold. Bend your knees, relax the weight of your head. Invite any movement. Another option for this practice, or if you watch this practice again, you can reach for opposite elbows and come into a ragdoll, rocking side to side. This offers a little more weight to the upper body, a little more lengthening in the back body with this added weight. holding onto the elbows. And release the elbows and roll yourself up. Sweep the arms up. And release the arms down. Let's heel toe back to mountain pose. Let's just take a pause here again, coming back to symmetrical form, setting your gaze over the fingertips. Just do a little body scan down the center line of the body. Sense the crown of your head, space between the eyes, tip of the nose, chin, center of the collarbones, center of the chest, navel center point, sensing the shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, feet. Inhale, reach up, and exhale into standing forward fold. I'm going to show you a profile. So reach your fingertips to the floor, bend your knees as much as you need, relax the weight of your head. Inhale to a flat back, and exhale, forward fold. Position yourself at the top of your mat so that we can move into the back of the mat. Bend your knees from your forward fold, plant your hands, and step back to high plank. Really, before you even get there, engage your quads, your glutes, your core. Stay strong, really firmly pressing the floor away, keeping your hips nice and lifted. Breathe here. Pressing back through the heels. You might even do a little bit of pulsing. Really feel each finger gripping the mat. From your high plank, you can lower one knee at a time or both together, hips to heels to extended child's pose. Bow your head. As you breathe in, you might feel a little bit of lifting of the back. As you breathe out, a releasing toward the mat. So just inviting a little bit of organic movement to the front and back of the torso as you breathe. Or you can be still, whatever's comfortable for you. From here, let's bring our hips forward and all the way down onto our bellies. Let's come into Sphinx pose. So come onto your forearms. If your back is feeling tight, we know that we can slide the forearms away from the body to invite a lesser back bend. You can position your feet comfortably apart or a little closer together. So start small as far as a back bend goes. Maybe invite a little bit of movement. My elbows are forward of my shoulders. Another option here is to lift one foot over the knee, point and flex a couple of times, and then try the other side. Sometimes that intensifies the back bend. And then if accessible, you can slide your elbows underneath the shoulders, giving you a little more lift to come into a fuller expression of Sphinx. We're keeping the back of the neck nice and long. We're keeping the chin neutral, the gaze down. So there's an action in the arms as a strong support for the upper body, for the back bend. Check in with your chest and your abdominals, your back. From here, let's come back into crocodile. Separate the feet comfortably apart. Rest your forehead on your hands. Take a pause. You want to lift your feet over your knees again and make some circles or windshield wiper the legs. Then lower the feet down. Let's come back into Cobra Prep. Plant your hands, keep that space between the fingers. Upper arms tucked into the side body, shoulders drawing back. Let's lift up to our Cobra. Hold here for a breath or two. It's a really nice, deeper back bend from Sphinx. And then press through the floor with a little more effort to lift your hips up and back. Extended child's pose. Bow your head. So my hips hovering off of the heels, my forehead hovering just off the mat. So we haven't landed, we're just hovering here. And come back to your tabletop, slide your hands underneath the shoulders, round your spine, tuck your chin. Arch your back, lift your tail. Let's move through cat-cow again. Exhale, push the floor weight around. Inhale, gaze forward, lift the tail. One more time to round. One more arch. Let's come back to downward facing dog. Slide your hands a little forward of the shoulders and then lift your hips up and back. Gazing towards your feet. One technique within your dog is to lift both heels up on inhalation and then gently release the heels toward the floor, but don't push them down. We're not forcing anything. We're just lifting and lowering, getting a nice stretch in the calf muscles and the hamstrings. Maybe pedaling out the legs alternately, bending the knees, getting really strong in the upper body. Arms fully supporting the weight of the upper body. Lower both knees down. Toes point back. Let's take child's pose again. Feel free to separate your knees comfortably apart to give the front side of the body room to release toward the mat. Just taking a pause in your child's pose, that calming quality as we relax the weight of the head down, turn your gaze inward, pausing in your practice. When the time is right for you, lift your head. Bring your hands to the mat. Sit back on your heels. We're coming into hero pose. Let your hands rest on the tops of the thighs. Pausing here. Just feel this neutral spine. And from hero pose, let's reach the fingertips behind us to the mat, behind the back. Plant all 10 fingers, draw the shoulders back, lift the chest, the gaze. This is a nice heart opener, chest opener, shoulder opener. You can invite a little bit of micro movement. You'll find that less movement is more here. Stretch. And then walk your hands forward. We're going to come right into a seated straddle. So I would recommend sitting up on a couple of cushions and then sending the legs wide. You choose the distance depending on groins and inner thighs. So if you feel like you've gone too far, you can bring the legs in a little closer together. Let's stay neutral here. Feel a sense that you're rooted, grounded through the seat, the pelvis, the hips, shoulders stacked over the hips, hands resting on the knees or even to the floor. Relax your feet. Just want to show you the difference between relaxed feet and then actively flex your feet. And you'll feel that action all the way from the bottoms of the feet, all the way up through the inner thighs. Maintaining this nice posture, shoulders soft. And then take a big breath in and feel a long line of energy extending up through the crown. Walk your hands forward. Just take a little hinge at the hip crease, just a little micro fold. Soften your knees as much as you can. We're still flexing the feet, but maybe a little less actively. Keep that space between your fingers, even space between the toes. If you want to reach for the feet, you're welcome to, or you can keep your hands to the mat. Push yourself back up. Let's take our left foot to the inner thigh. Left hand to the mat. Right arm sweeps over. So we're winding down a little bit here. We're just going to move side to side. Set your gaze up toward that left hand and then up toward the right, or you can just look forward, keeping your neck neutral. Side to side. And then if you want to try this, we can hinge forward and come up onto the left knee and the right heel. And lower back down. When you lower back down, reach for the right foot. Get a nice stretch here. Maybe do a little bit of pulsing. And then release the left hand. Sweep the right across to propel the hips upward. And lower back down. So you can set your pace here. A little bit of pulsing. Nice strong stretch in the hamstring. Back of the right leg. And again. Rise up. Maybe hold here for a breath or two. Keep your neck nice and loose and lower down. So make sure you're sitting up on those cushions. Come back to your straddle. Maybe give your knees a little shake off. Maybe take a comfortable forward fold, a little bit of rocking. The beauty of this recording is you can pause it. And you can continue in these patterns for as long as you like, and then press play when you're ready to move on. And we'll do the other side. So now we're taking the right foot to the inner left thigh. If this knee doesn't comfortably land, you can always tuck a block. And then we'll just move from side to side. Notice how sensation changes on this side. You can look up to your arm to get a nice stretch in the neck, or just keep your gaze forward, find your pace. Notice that I'm bending my elbow, leaning over, keeping that elbow joint nice and loose. And then if you choose, we can sweep the left arm up. I'm coming onto my right knee and left heel and lowering down, reaching over to the left foot, and then planting the right hand and reaching upward again, moving between these 2 points. Nice stretch in the back body in this forward fold, maybe a little pulsing, and sweeping up again, maybe holding here for a breath or two, and lower down. Let's come back into a straddle, shake out the knees, maybe take a little forward fold, rock side to side. And then we'll slide our legs together to come into staff pose, shake out the knees, shake out the feet. Really feel that release. And then we'll come into a comfortable seated tuck. So let the knees bend and come together. Wrap your arms around. Bow your head. Open up the back body here. Another moment to pause in your practice, just feeling all of the effects from this practice. Release from your tucked position, and we'll place a cushion on the floor for our head. We'll come down onto our backs, so take your time. Keep your feet rooted, your knees bent, your arms wide, palms open. Let's pause here. Close down your eyes. Just feel the earth supporting the weight of the body. Feeling a sense of neutral, gliding down. Begin to windshield wiper the legs right and left. Side to side, shoulder blades firm on the ground. Feel a nice openness across the collarbones, the shoulders, and the chest as the legs flow side to side. As the knees come back to center, walk your feet back to hip distance apart, arms down to the side body. We're setting up for bridge pose. So just tuck your shoulders underneath you a little bit. Feel the collarbones and the shoulders broaden, chest broadens. Press down through your feet, down through your hands, your upper arms. Lift up to your bridge. There's a comfortable tuck in the chin. I'm squeezing the knees in toward each other, really feeling that engagement in my glutes, my core, my quads. Pressing the floor away. You can choose how lifted you want to be. This is a great glute stretch, quad stretch. As you exhale, lower the hips down. When they land, take a breath in and let the arms float up and overhead. Exhalation brings the arms back down to rest. Lift up to your bridge. We're holding our bridge. We're not holding our breath. You can even invite a little bit of movement to the hips here if that feels good. Really keeping the feet firmly planted, arms, backs of the arms and hands firmly planted, allowing for a little bit of movement if you choose. And on your next exhale, let the hips release back down to earth. Inhale, float the arms up and overhead. And on exhalation, we're going to draw the right knee in and create that hold on the right leg. Extend your left leg to the floor. Flex your feet. If you want a little more active practice, you can let that left leg hover. If you're hovering, really engage your lower abdominals to support your low back. Really feel that. Draw the left in, create the hold on the left, and extend the right, either all the way to the floor or just hovering. Flex your feet, press down into the low back, engaging your lower abdominals. Nice core workout here. And then draw both knees in toward the chest. Hold on to the knees. Let's do a little rocking side to side. Relax your feet. Getting this lumbar massage side to side. So again, since this is a recording, if you want to put the recording on pause and continue with some stretching, you're welcome to. If you feel ready for Shavasana, you can get yourself ready for Shavasana, put the recording on pause, and then come back to play, and we'll set up for Shavasana. So maybe a bolster underneath the knees, the feet comfortably wide and falling out to the sides, arms away from the side body, head, neck, and spine all in equal alignment. Palms are turned up. And if any of these physical cues aren't comfortable for you, find what's comfortable. It might feel comfortable for the low back to keep your knees bent. Or that's quality as well. And then come to land. Let your whole body take up space. Whatever that means to you, taking up space. Let the weight of the body release onto the ground. Close down your eyes. Relax the muscles around the eyes. Relax muscles across the forehead. Feel the coolness of the in-breath passing through the nostrils, warmth of the exhalation. Shoulders melting onto the ground. Scan through the arms and the legs, the hands and the feet. Allow any letting go in the limbs. Soften your throat. Soften the back of the neck. Grounded energy. The weight of the eyes resting soft. All of these lingering qualities of sensation in the body from the practice, taking them all in, holding a space for these shifts that have taken place during practice. Just notice what's here. Notice where your body quite naturally relaxes into the practice of rest. And also notice those areas that continue to hold on. Really letting the body decide what it needs in its own time of releasing and holding on. Again, you can stay in Shavasana for as long as you choose. You can invite a little bit of movement if you choose. Rock your head side to side. When you're ready, you can bring your feet to the floor and roll onto a side to just take a pause here. Just wait through transition. And then when you're ready, plant your hands and use the strength of your arms to help you back into a comfortable seat. Taking a few moments, as we do at the end of our practice, you can have your palms turned up, palms turned down. A comfortable bow of the head, closing down the eyes. Just taking a moment here to return to yourself, seated. Return to your breath. Set the arms wide, palms up, take a big breath in, float the arms upward, hands come together and into prayer pose. Just a moment to acknowledge this practice. You can return to it anytime. Thank you so much for allowing me to make this recording for you. Take good care. Be well.
You will.
Namaste.